Om Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. Namaste everyone.
Namaste.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hola. Patal. Annyeonghaseyo, konnichiwa. Namaskar, vanakkam, vandanam. Welcome to our 36th annual Well Interfaith Festival and the 7th day of the Well Interfaith Harmony Week celebration. It is my great pleasure and honor to join with my family members from different countries, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to our event. Here, I like to invite grandmother Patricia. She is the American Indian elder from Navajo and Dineh Nation. Grandmother Patricia, please unmute yourself. Floor is for you.
I'd like to first introduce myself in the traditional way, and Patricia Ann Davis and Jeff. I'm the band of Choctaw and Chle, Tachi Nibashilchin, Tata Dene, E the Shache, Kiani, E the Chanella, although the end the ne, Yaja and Chle, don't he gle. I want to mention that in this holy people, sacred language and words, it is impossible. We cannot say, there's no way to say, but not you. It is an inclusive language. And I want to say, good morning. All my relatives and beloved community. In this sacred words of our ancestors, Bado, Ojo, Dole, Nahasan, Hima, Jona, Yadelhil, Hashte, Kit, Hashte, Hoan, Aya, Shaja, Shata, Ian. Shada nahos. Ehwazen nsake sto nahat etzil. Do hojoje inna do se hasen. Ojo nasha do le. Shilpa hojoni. Ojo nahasli, Ojo nahasli. In brief translation, let us affirm our inherent divinity and sovereignty with Creator, within all creation, and within the natural order of spiritual law that governs all of us equally. And may we live the loving way as a way of life, using our co-creative power within us to have power for peacemaking with others in our eternal sacred self, within our eternal blessed place within the universe. May there be balance in living, harmony in relationships, love in the humane family, and harmony within our environment. Joy within our hearts, within our home, and within the hearth of our fireplace, our habitat, our home, our synagogue, our churches, our sacred places, our especially our home, our habitat, where we must all take care of the children. Hojo nahaskli, hojo nahaskli, hojo nahaskli, hojo nahaskli. All is in beauty and harmony and balance and love, good health, wellness, and peace. Thank you, all my relatives.
Thank you, Grandmother Patricia and Davis. It's a great pleasure to work with you. Last 5 years, you are in our administrative work. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
After a long time, we are joining again. I'm so glad.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Micah is here. Micah, please unmute yourself.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Guruji, and namaste, and hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us to this beautiful event. I'm so happy to meet you all here. I'm Micah, a member of Inamori Art Project Group in Tokyo. We are a volunteer art group delivering our message of love and peace through our music, dance, drama, Japanese taiko drums, and art paintings. We are so grateful for being part of here. First of all, our representative and executive producer, Koken Yamato, would like to deliver his message. Unfortunately, due to the time difference, because now it's already midnight in Tokyo, he couldn't join here live, so he recorded his video message to you. So hope you will enjoy. Thank you.
皆さん、こんにちは。稲森アートプロジェクトグループの大和光健です。Hello everyone. I'm Koken Yamato, the representative and the executive producer of the Japanese amateur art group Inamori Art Project Group. I would like to extend my hearty congratulations on the 36th Annual World Interfaith Festival and World Interfaith Harmony Week Gala celebration. We are very happy and honored to participate in this festival today. Thank you so much. For the past 10 years, we have visited New York from Japan, and every year we have delivered prayer of love and peace in the art. Its purpose is only one: to reborn this earth as a planet of love without stupid conflicts. And we do believe it can be achieved, not a dream or a fairy tale. Love and peace, unification, that is the theme our works are conveying. Unification means all people are being created as irreplaceable beings. No one should lack. That's why each one has difference no one else has. It's a necessity given by God to fulfill the role and the mission only that person can. The difference is a proof of the role only that person can fulfill, even if this universe is so wide. It is also called individuality. So I think if someone denies such difference, it means denying the will of God who gave that individuality. I think nations and religions are the same. There is a mission only that nation can fulfill. And there is a mission only that religion and teaching can fulfill. So instead of denying each other, thinking they are enemies, or thinking they are the ones in conflict, I believe we need to realize Each of them fulfills and takes responsibility for a role and a mission which each of us cannot do. And vice versa. If so, wouldn't we think God, who created all humans, nations, races, the children of God, and religions, is only one? The time when we can think like that, the conflicts caused by difference will disappear from the earth. And I'm sure the earth will be reborn as a planet full of love and peace. That's what we would like to convey. Unification beyond all differences. Today, thank you so much. We hope you enjoy our works, incorporating our thoughts, wishes, and prayers.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we'd like to present our first song, Love and Peace. It tells we are all one human family to love each other. So please enjoy. Thank you.
Let's get over our differences of kind and nations. Why can't we be like children, smiling hand in hand? Don't be bold with the promise again and again. We do love each other and be aware of the truth. We are brothers and sisters. Get closing on in tears, waiting from us to awake. Love and peace. Yes, we are no time. Yes, we are no time. First family singing love and peace. It's ready for children. Now it's time to stop for us this foolish fight. Handing us down, picking up flowers instead. No sword but love falling down from the sky. After us with a minute to touch each other. Somebody tell me, where did we go? Where did we go to? From the no one's up, spaceship Earth. We are one together, one baby family. God's beloved family, no more killing. I'm serving my God. Yes, we are long time first family. Love and peace. It's waiting for children. L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E, P-E-A-C-E, we need peace. L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E, P-E-A-C-E, we need peace. Love will make your power go. Love is something that you know. Love is spinning, turning in space, and around we go. I need to believe in love. Do you believe in love? I believe in love. Love and peace. Love and peace. Oh, we need it now. Yes, we are the child. Now singing love and peace. Oh, can you hear it calling? Ready for us to awaken on this land. Yes, it's crazy. Oh, it's ready. Yes, we are no time. First family. Your love and peace. That's what we are. It's ready for us to awaken.
Wow, that was a beautiful word. See, that is in Japanese time, other part of the world. So you have a few more, right?
Yes, 2 more
Yeah, that's
slides
great.
later on.
Thank you. Okay. So I like to invite our Rabbi, Rabbi Stuart de Paris. He is the president of the All Faith Seminary International. Last some years, I am working with him as a trustee at the seminary. Rabbi Paris and his wife Reverend also here. Rabbi Paris, floor is for you.
Thank you. Namaste, my brother. We at All Faith Seminary International, we continue the work of Rabbi Joseph H. Gelberman, who was our founder, and actually the founder of Interfaith Studies in America. Rabbi Gelberman lost his entire family except for 2 brothers and a sister in the Holocaust. He came to America to save everybody, and he got stuck here. And he told a story that he went into darkness, and when he came out, he realized that he needed to stay alive, because as long as he were alive, they were alive. And those who were truly alive never die. And I think that's what we need to say about him today. He passed from this realm some 10 years ago, but he lives through each of us as we continue his work. The central prayer of Judaism is 6 simple words that are in the 5th book of the Bible, the Torah. The words are Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, O Israel. Listen, O humankind. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. If there is in fact one God, and we are all the children of that one God, what does that make us to one another? Guruji, you and I are brothers. We may have a different path, but we seek the same truth. And I think that goes for everybody on this planet. We're all brothers and sisters. And might the world change if we acted like family? We can argue from time to time, but we always make up, and we always have love, which is at the center of our existence. It is morning in New York, and I would like to begin with a very, very simple prayer that we recite every morning. I was taught this as a little boy. We believe that the souls in our bodies, the spark of life, the divine, actually go up to heaven when we're sleeping at nighttime. That spark, that soul leaves our body, and it goes up to heaven in a night court of angels. And the angels say to the soul, soul, how did you do today? Did you love? Were you kind? Did you notice the joy and beauty of God in each person you encountered? Were you a good person today? And some souls get sent back and some souls don't. And we can't tell the difference until the eyes open and one of those souls is restored. I was told this story as a little boy, and I believe it could be true. So we in Judaism begin our prayer every day. When we open our eyes, the first thing that we say, and I was taught this as a very little boy, and I've done it ever since every day, we say a prayer. Modani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta bi nishmati nishmati v'chem l'Rabbi emunatecha selah Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Translated, it means, thank you, God, for restoring my soul to my body and giving me another day of life. Listen, O Israel, listen, O humankind. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever and ever. As we go through the day, we remember that we begin our day with gratitude. Thank you. And we begin our day with God. Thank you, God, for restoring my soul to my body. How bad can the day be? How bad can it be? If we all do that, might the world be a better place? Amen. Namaste, my brother.
Namaste, Rabbi. That was a beautiful prayer, as usual.
Mhm.
Look at this. See so many colors? All are my friends. I'm so proud of you. The topics are from the last year, 35th annual Well Interfaith Festival. The New York City proclaimed that day for the New York City. They happened at the church center. So this year I thought, are we going to have the event or not? I had a doubt, but somehow we made it. Here I like to invite one of my close friends, Dr. Charles S. Chesnavek. Usually I call him Chuck-G. That's the way I call him. He's an adjunct professor of world religions and religious education at Mercy College and Unification Theological Seminary. Last 17 years, over 17 years, he's putting Interfaith Harmony Week event in Westchester, like different places. I always go and support his event. After our event, I'm going to join in his event. So he has to prepare his event. So Chuck, where are you? Yeah, I saw you.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Congratulations on your 36th World Interfaith Prayer Service. I very much appreciate being here with everyone. This afternoon will be the 17th annual Interreligious Prayer Service for Peace and Justice, celebrating World Interfaith Harmony. I'm reciting the prayer, the peace prayer of St. Francis here at my home in Yonkers, New York, as the snow gently is falling outside. And this morning's gospel spoke about Jesus going off to pray, which is a very appropriate gospel reading for all of us as we gather this day to offer our prayers of thanksgiving and praise to the Almighty and to the God we all believe in. The peace prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. May peace prevail on earth. Peace to all of you this day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chucky G. It was beautiful. I know you had to prepare your event, right? So see you there.
Yes, thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Next speaker is my colleague, Hiro Sakurai. Is the chair of the Committee of Religious NGOs and the NGO representative of the Soka, Gakkai International to the United Nations. My brother, Hiro Sakurai. Floor is for you.
Thank you, Guruji. Good morning to everyone. And thank you, the World Yoga community, for bringing us together today. In the World Interfaith Harmony Week's resolution, the General Assembly reaffirms that mutual understanding and interreligious dialogue constitute important dimensions of a cultural peace. When division and distrust are threatening our lives and societies in the time of COVID, a cultural peace which promotes respect and coexistence needs to spread ever more widely in society and ever more deeply into our own lives. Religion and faith communities have enormous roles to play for that, as they bring people together and inspire hope. At another World Interfaith Harmony Week observance, which I participated in, I shared Tagore's poem, the one that Ambassador Chaudhry shared in this book. It's a dialogue he held with President Daisaku Ikeda of the Soka Gakkai International. They were talking about Tagore, who they both loved very much, and discussed that Tagore has brought to us universal humanism, love for humanity, and the culture of peace. Then Ambassador Chaudhry shared this poem, which he stated that has had enduring impact on him. So I'd like to read it once again today. It's Tagore's timeless message for all of us. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hiro. That was beautiful. And you always bring some new thing. Appreciate. So now good to have a little music. And music also spiritual. I believe art, music, dance, all will uplift our energy and bring us to the heaven. That's what I believe. Emiliano Garcia is our music man today. Please.
Hi.
5
Hi,
minutes.
everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Guruji. Namaste. It's an honor to be praying with you all today, and our words hopefully will be heard in all of our hearts and the hearts of everyone that we care about. And sometimes there are places in our hearts that words can't reach, and maybe that's why I play music. I don't know, but maybe that's why. So playing music as a prayer, playing music as a meditative practice, playing music as a way to reach those places beyond what our words can say, beyond what our minds can understand. If there's a chance that we can reach that, if there's a chance that we can taste that peace, I'll keep playing music like I do now.
Thank you, brother. That was beautiful music. You'll stay a little longer, right? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now we have a guest speaker. You see one photo, I put it here. That was a peace event, Kama Yoga event at the Indian consulate in New York City. In 2007, it will happen. You see, Baba Jain is sitting near me, and Swami Ramananda Bishop, Archbishop Titus, Swami Bawa, Rabbi Galbaman, Swami Ramasuru from Himalayas, Sharon Saspur, and Dharmamitra Yogi, Dharmamitra, all are there. Beautifully when we had like one afternoon, like 6 hours. Anyway. There we announced the yoga day, first time in America. Babaji, Dr. Babaji is the founding secretary general of the World Council of Religious Leaders and the founder and president of the Center for Responsible Leadership. Moreover, he does so many events around the world, making peace between Hindus and Muslims, Jewish and Muslims, Christians. Moreover, the number one event happened at the UN, that was Millennium Religious Conference. That was in 2000. I know some of you already worked with him earlier. He organized the beautiful event, Swami Bawa blow the shell. That's the shell I blow in the beginning of today. So without delay, I want to invite Dr. Bawa Jain. Bawaji, floor is for you.
Okay. Namaste. Namaste, Dileepji. Greetings to all of you, my new friends and some very old friends. What a joy to join you all this morning, even though it's virtual, it's remote. But the UN's Interfaith Harmony Week evokes memories. And those of you who know me, I always like to begin with a moment of silence. This has been an unprecedented year in our history, in the global history. Times like this that we have not seen in our lifetimes. The world is in much suffering and pain. Prayers unite us. Prayers bring us together. And then there are some stalwarts of the interfaith movement. Today we must pay homage to them. So please join me in a moment of silence. I pray that these prayers that you people have shared will reverberate throughout the world. Today, I want to begin by taking you on a little bit of a nostalgic journey. A journey of the giants and the stalwarts of the interfaith movement. I want, so many of you know them, some may not know. So I hope that this can evoke some of the memories and we can recognize the enormous work done for interreligious dialogue, interfaith harmony. Just tracing back in no particular order, just randomly. I think of Bob Trier, the International Association of Religious Freedom, one of the oldest organizations. Marcus Braybrook. These are people from England. I come back to our own country here. Who can ever forget the visionary Juliet Hollister, the founder of the Temple of Understanding, who worked with Eleanor Roosevelt, if you do not know. She was a visionary long before many others could. She was the one in the religious world. I think she was the Bella Abzug of the women's movement of the religious world as compared to Bella Abzug of the political world and what she did for the women's rights around the world. Juliet Hollister, I looked upon, and she looked upon me as a son. So always I benefited tremendously from her. Then Homer Jack, World Conference on Religion and Peace at that time, then Religions for Peace. John Taylor, his successor Bill Bentley, who changed and made it the Religions for Peace. I think on the other side, one of the persons who had the most profound impact in my lifetime as a father figure and my mentor, Jim Morton. He was the head of the Temple of Understanding, and so much was happening. Those of you can recall the glorious days of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, that this man had the courage and conviction to open the doors of the cathedral to all kinds of things. The taiko drums there, the Goy peace table coming there, the blessings of the animals coming there. Any major leader of the world, whether it be a Carl Sagan or a Al Gore or a Maya Angelou, they all came to the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. That man was visionary and he had the courage to do things out of the box. If he felt something, he did it. He did not wait for protocols or abide by the protocols. If he felt something from his heart, he just did it. So we should always honor Dean James Morton, because he was one of the true visionaries who brought a lot of work to the United Nations. Here in our call today is one person who has worked with all these people that I mentioned. Dr. Kusumita Pedersen, my dear sister. And after that, she also worked with the Global Forum, with Akio Matsumura. She worked closely with me as a senior advisor for the Millennium World Peace Summit at the UN. She is an enormous resource and a treasure. And she knows more than I think anybody else the history of the interfaith world and the interfaith work. I'm reminded of Bishop Bill Swing. In 1995, the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, Gillian Sorensen, the Undersecretary General at that time, who was charged with organizing the activities, organized a special 50th anniversary events in San Francisco. And what does Bishop Swing do? He creates the United Religions Initiative, the URI. Look what it's doing today all over the world. There are many here, especially my dear sister, Monica Willard. I've shared many good times with her the 30 years. And I know that she has a passage straight to my heart. She knew my weakness. Each time at the United Nations, she wanted to bring something. which would touch me deeply, she'd just bring a box of chocolate cookies that she would bake. And simple as that, she would reach my heart. And we did many, many wonderful things together. I'm reminded of the visionary Daniel Gomez Ibanez and Howard Salkin, who resurrected the Parliament of the World's Religions after 100 years as we approached 1993. They were the visionaries. Or Hans Kung, who created the Towards the Global Ethic document, a living document which continues till today, relevant even today. I think a little further away of people who are pioneers in different parts of the world. In Japan, the Rissho Kosekai, the Navajo family, who created the World Conference Religion and Peace, as we know the Religions for Peace now. Or Kyotaro Deguchi, the Ogoto Foundation. They were pioneers. They did things people did not dare at that time. I go back to my own original place of birth, India. How can we ever forget stalwarts like Dr. Karan Singh, Dr. L.M. Singhvi, my guru, Acharya Sushil Muniji. In 1957, he convened the World Fellowship of Religions. I was 1 year old. My mother told me that she took me there at that time. So I guess interfaith, interreligious work was deeply ingrained in my very DNA from my very childhood. But then I went off to a boarding school, a British boarding school. Growing up there, I never thought this is where I would be today. But I tell you, my life is so much more enriched, leaving my very wealthy and illustrious family and pursuing this path with my guru. You see his picture here. And I always say one thing, whatever has happened in my life, it's not me, it's my guru. It's my guru's blessings. That's why the lineage that Kusumita ji continues of Shri Chinmoy, how much work he did for the UN all the time, the International Day of Peace, the peace harmonies, the symphonies. He would keep doing all those things tirelessly. And these things continue to mushroom. For me, a matter of great joy and satisfaction is things that we had envisioned at the Millennium Summit are coming to fruition. What is important is that the things get done, not who does them. That is the ethos which motivates me. For instance, just look at the Millennium Summit. Tony Blair creates the Tony Blair Faith Foundation. And one of the most historic moments, to my mind, which was worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize, was the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Abdel-lah bin Aziz Al Saud, daring to break centuries-old tradition and going to the Vatican to meet Pope Paul. That is all shattering. These two major religions and the leaders coming together. Because remember, there is only one custodian of the two holy mosques, King Abdel-lah. He went to the Vatican and then he created the King Abdel-lah Center for Interreligious Dialogue, an intergovernmental body for the first time. This is what we had envisioned at the Millennium Summit, that these things would be happening. Now we have a whole bunch of other things. Qatar creates a center. The Jordanians, the king had the courage to launch the Interfaith Harmony Week. He's charged a prince to be in charge of it and run it. There are pioneers who are doing revolutionary work. All over the world, you see interfaith, interreligious activities coming up, which is very heartening. And I think that could be a great message where political people cannot get together. It's the religious people who can bridge the gap and bring them together to bridge the differences. That is what we must pursue. We might have our differences, as we do in any family. The important thing is that we come together and we can agree civilly. For what an image that is etched deep into my memory, the deep pain and anguish is of the 6th of January, when our sacred symbol of democracy, not just for America, but the whole world was desecrated. That must never, ever be allowed to happen again. They need our prayers. They need us to reach out and heal. It is incumbent upon us. I remember last year, for the 75th anniversary of the Holocaust, we took the Secretary General of the Muslim World League, Dr. Alisa, with a delegation of about 60 Muslims, with the sponsorship of with the hosting of the American Jewish Committee, David Harris and his team, and senior Jewish leaders. And who was there amongst them? Somebody who was there in almost every interfaith gathering and who's an international director for the American Jewish Committee, Rabbi David Rosen, my dear brother. Together we went to the 75th anniversary of the Holocaust and Auschwitz. And there, what was absolutely touching me deeply was, it was Friday, time for prayer. And when it was time for the Muslim prayers, David Harris asked me, Bawa, will the Muslim brothers join us in prayer? So I told Dr. Alisa, I said, he's my brother. I said, my brother, I think that would be a very good gesture if you pray together as a Jewish. And I asked them to bring some bottles of water and some blankets. Even though Auschwitz is so cold at that time, suddenly as if God was shining his light upon us, it was a very mild day. We were out for over 2 hours there, paying homage to all the people who had suffered there and saying never, ever again. This man, Dr. Alisa, the senior most Sunni Muslim leader of the world, he wept. He said, how can we ever deny the Holocaust? We must do everything to prevent this kind of a tragedy hitting anybody or befalling on anybody in the world. So when we asked to pray, I had a bottle of water. He says, you know our tradition. I said, of course. He said, no, we can break tradition. It is sacred. And they all got down and prayed. That's the power of leaders who can come together. Look now, Egypt and Dubai, with the Pope Francis and Sheikh Al-Azhar launching the Human Fraternity Day, and look at the messages that they send out. I see great hope, great aspiration now being realized when people are coming together. I think now, though, my own conviction is that we need to move a step beyond that. In 2000, 2001, I think it was when the World Economic Forum invited us to bring religious leaders to Davos, we launched the religious initiative. Since then, it continues every year. Whether we are directly involved or not, doesn't matter. What is important is it is being done. What is the thinking behind that? I had told Mr. Klaus Schwab, if you are truly interested to bring religious leaders to sit on the same table with the world's political leaders and civic leaders and business leaders. Only then we can have a sustainable solution to the problems that we face. Then we've seen what's happened in our country here, coming back home. We've just lost all civility in our political discourse. I don't see responsible leadership in our Congress. It is so divided. The nation is polarized. And the world looks up to America, no matter where you're from. What happens in America impacts the whole world. And the last 4 years have exposed this in a way which I never thought was possible in my lifetime. So we launched the Center for Responsible Leadership 2 years ago. Our first summit was at the United Nations. And one person who has been a close sister, a close ally, was no other than Gillian Sorensen. She was there even at this event. There were many others also. Now, what does the Center for Responsible Leadership do? We do not have a universally accepted definition of responsible leadership. In my consultation and meeting with various leaders of the world, and I have been blessed to meet all the major leaders of the world, we came up with a fundamental 3 questions. We want to make this a world movement where everybody can answer for themselves. We are nobody to judge anybody. So we asked 3 questions. Do you make decisions based on the present or the future? Number 2, are those decisions based on your conviction or convenience? And third, are they constructive or destructive? You decide for yourself if you are a responsible leader. And one of the first things which we're going to do now, retooling with these efforts, and this is something which I want to offer to all of you, is we are launching a state-of-the-art digital platform, hopefully by the end of the month. And at this platform, our first dialogue will be restoring civility to public discourse. The next month, we are working with President Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and John Hopkins to have a national dialogue on the opioid crisis. And each month, we will do some series of things. What I want to say is to our community, this is our fraternity, really, the inter-religious world, the interfaith world. That's why I was so touched when Dileepji invited me and said, Babaji, will you come? I said, this will be my honor. So I can share with all of you that there are people who have spent their lifetimes in these things. Imam Shamsi Ali, for 30 years I've known him. He's working constantly same, and he just looks the same even now, no change. I mean, any of the people that you look around and see, these people have been driven. They have a purpose in life. As our dear friend Stephen Rockefeller said at the Millennium Summit, he said, who is to judge what is important or not? What is important is each one of us do something with our lifetimes. Whether it is small, whether it is big, on a global stage or in a community. The important thing is let's do something. Let us get together. Let's work together. And remember, leave no one out. Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, Zoroastrians, Jains, Sikhs, native people, indigenous people, Shintos, everybody. There is no difference there because what is common is the color of our blood. You check it out. I haven't seen any difference. I haven't seen anybody's blood which is not red. We might look different, but at the core of it, we share a common destiny. It behooves us to reach out, to do something. I pledge, we are open. Anybody has differences, call us. Anybody you want to do something, please let us know. Wherever you want, we will not be wanting. We will not be lagging at it. We will always be there. And Dileepji, thank you so much for reminding us of Swami Bawa. Blowing the conch shell, that image was so fresh in my mind today. And for all of you, thank you so much. And I wish God's blessings, choicest blessings upon each one of you all. Namaste and thank you.
Jain prayer. Prayer
Okay. Om Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aidiyanam, Namo Vajayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Eso Panchanamokaro, Savapavapanasano, Manglanancha Savesing, Karmanghavai Mangalam, Chaitavara Sanchakwati Maidiyo, Santi Santi Karloe Patogai Mataram. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
Thank you, Bawa. You brought a lot of old memories. And those who work with the UN, they remember all the old events, all the masters. Yeah, I had really great time with you all. Appreciate your time, valuable time spending with us. Next person is Reverend Martha Gala. She is the URI NGO representative at the UN. Additionally, she is the advisor to the Value community. A lot of times she guides me for different events, a lot of support. Martha Gala, floor is for you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Why, Jane, what a wonderful honor to follow you. It was just a beautiful history for those of us who've been at the UN for a long time. My name is Martha Gallagher, and I wanted to highlight something about United Religions Initiative, which is from the time that it was founded. The movement has grown into over 1 million people with 1,000 circles in 108 countries. And what I wanted to speak to about that is the miracle of being able to promote local leadership within a global movement, the miracle of the one and the many. So I also wanted to highlight that those of you who are not at the UN may be eager to hear that, no surprise, that our friend Dileepji, Guruji, is truly inclusive at the United Nations, truly open, truly embodying the multi-faith perspective at the UN. And I think you had something to do, Dileepji, with planting in New York City the interfaith harmony. That was quite an accomplishment in a city of over 8 million people. So he seems to be everywhere at all times, very steady, very determined, very consistent with the message of interfaith harmony. Many thanks to you. It's a privilege to work with you. My prayer today is to invoke what may be needed at this time in this wonderful, thriving future that we have a chance to live in, as Bawa Jain said, is to invoke the soul of religion. So how do we recognize what we mean by the soul of religion? It would be all the things that have been said here, said beautifully, said harmoniously, said distinctly, said without opposition, without the need to oppose. We recall that perhaps in addition to our doctrine, the most important psychological thing that we can do, action that we can take, happens when we are faced with an opportunity to criticize, to react, to judge, that we choose not to do that. That we choose to recognize humanity transforms with every breath we take. And in that respect, I would like to put special honor to those out in the field who are exerting leadership every day, to United Religion's initiative for promoting youth leadership, for allowing people like me who are humanists, who in my group include atheists, to be part of the table of the multi-faith community. So invoking the soul of the nations, may we, in holy gratitude for our alignment with divine love and with each other, we who pervade the universe in alignment with that divine love, stand as co-creators in conscious recognition of the revelation that all true religion proclaims and celebrates universal oneness in right relationship with all life, without suppressing diversity, and sees all life as sacred, recognizes love triumphs even over death, and acknowledges our comprehensive interrelatedness with all life. May we learn to honor and enjoy our diversity and differences as a people, even as we more deeply touch our fundamental unity. May we, as a religious community, continue the work of transformation that will draw forth others to lead in love, others who embody courage, compassion, and a higher vision. May we accept responsibility in our everyday lives to engage in practical, civil discourse that is creative and imaginative and empowers others. May we, as united in the culture of peace, move with clear, directed purpose to take our place among the community of nations in leadership to help build a better future for all humanity. When we help those we think of others, we help ourselves. May we as a people, united in purpose, rededicate ourselves to truly living as one, indivisible. May we bring all that we know about God here on earth now. And may this divine will be done for all of us in peace, in harmony, in truth. Thank you. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Reverend Martha. Thank you for your support. Always, whenever I call, you are there to help us. You know, that's a part I always like about it. Our next speaker is very special to us. It is Audrey Kitagawa. He is the president and founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation and URI NGO representative at the United Nations. He is the former chair of the Board of Trustees of the Parliament of World Religions and president founder of the International Academy for Transcultural Cooperation, the president of the Light of Awareness International Spiritual Family, the former advisor to the Office of the Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict at the United Nations. And she is a chair emerita of the NGO Committee on Spirituality, Values, and Global Concerns. And so many committees she was part of it. So many events worldwide. Even I remember we had an event in Canada last year, 1 year back. Over 8,000, 9,000 people gathered for the Parliament of World Religion. He was handling that event very well. Very talented person. Aloha. Reverend Audrey Kitagawa, floor is for you.
Hello, everyone, and my deepest appreciation to Guru Dileepji for this invitation to be on this World Interfaith Harmony Week event today. And I also want to extend my congratulations to all of the trustees, advisors, and global council members and volunteers of the World Yoga community, many of whom are watching this event on Facebook. Thank you for all of your hard work throughout the year in your loving service to raise awareness worldwide about the importance and impact of yoga on the health of people. The term yoga is derived from the Sanskrit word yuja, which means to unite, representing the unification of body and consciousness. This whole aspect of uniting is an important recognition that we actually exist in a unitive consciousness that creates a seamless whole between the manifest world of form and structure and the unmanifest world, which is that sacred ground of being, which gives rise to the appearance of form and structure. Today, I've been asked to share about this annual observance that is bringing us all together in this special celebration. The World Interfaith Harmony Week, which is held every year from February 1 through 7. Today marks the close of the week, but we should celebrate throughout the year and beyond the week, opportunities to share fellowship with each other. The World Interfaith Harmony Week was first proposed at the UN General Assembly on September 23, 2010, by His Majesty King Abdel-lah II of Jordan. On October 20th, 2010, the UN unanimously adopted February 1 through 7 as World Interfaith Harmony Week. This week is based on the pioneering work of the Common Word Initiative, which was started in 2007. It called for Muslim and Christian leaders to engage in dialogue based on two common fundamental religious commandments, love of God and love of neighbor, without compromising their own respective religious tenets. These two commandments provided a common theological ground for these two religions and included all people of goodwill. It also includes those of other faiths and those with no faith. The World Interfaith Harmony Week provides a platform when all interfaith groups and other people of goodwill can show the world what a powerful movement they are a part of. And thousands of events organized by this group allows us to become aware of each other and strengthen the movement by building relationships, just as we are doing here today. It is hoped that initiatives such as today's will provide a focal point from which all people of goodwill can recognize that shared common values outweigh differences and provides vectors for peace and harmony within their communities. Every opportunity to be together, whether through sharing prayers, partaking of meals, and enjoying each other's company, even if in the virtual world for now, help us to remember that we are all co-travelers on the journey of sacred life that is made beautiful through the sharing of our hearts of love, caring, and daily acts of kindness for each other. There are many people in the world who are doing God's work with great love, selfless love, feeding and serving the hungry, the poor, the incapacitated, and those in need. There's a beautiful saying that goes, "Don't shine so that others can see you, but shine so that through you, others can see God." And this is exactly what all of the unsung heroes in the world are doing, quietly serving in a multitude of capacities, day in and day out, to make a contribution in the world in his or her own way. Every day that we live gives us an endless stream of opportunities in how we can contribute to making this world a better place wherever we are, here and now. Wherever we stand is the holy ground, and we must actualize a living reality of the divine in our daily lives through every loving word, thought, and deed. Mother Teresa said, "We cannot do great things in the world. We can only do small things with great love." Through her example of selfless service to help the poorest of the poor, she became the expression of love in action. When we saw her hugging and feeding the orphan babies, giving comfort to the dying leper, we were moved to see love in action in such a tiny, humble person. And she served every day tirelessly while simultaneously keeping up with her life of prayer, reading and handwriting responses to the millions of people who sought her help, teaching her sisters of charity how to do selfless service, and opening missions around the world. A simple nun who heard the call from God to serve the poorest of the poor, gave up everything of herself to start her own charity, to serve her beloved Jesus the Christ in the form of the hungry, sick, and impoverished. She said, "The greatest poverty is spiritual poverty." When I went to Calcutta to visit her ashram that was situated on a busy street, I walked down a dirt lane with poor children, in the lane situated in a ghetto. The noise of the traffic was loud and relentless. Yet, when I entered the chamber of her mausoleum to sit in silence and meditate, it was completely peaceful and calm. Through the busy street of rushing cars, where just outside the window, I felt in the presence of a saint, though at that time she had not yet made a saint, but is a saint today. She was loved by people of all walks of life and all faiths because her selfless service transcended any religion, but was an example of the greatest teachings of all of the great religions. As I began today setting forth the two common fundamental religious commandments of love of God and love of neighbor, we can honestly say that there are those amongst us who are loved for their saintliness because they exemplify the love of God and love of neighbor. Mother Teresa has left the body. Who now can we look to that can ever be so saintly and can actually become a saint? Why, all persons everywhere. But how is this so? Because the very life we have is the life of God. Every breath we take is the breath of God. God, the divine creator of all there is is the closest to us of all. I had a beautiful spiritual mother who told me, God is love. And where is God? Already within you. Therefore, to have this life is to have love already inherently within us. When we understand that in doing selfless service, we come to the awakening that there is only one power in the universe, and that power is God, in whom there is this union of not two but one, and there is therein to serve your neighbor is to serve yourself. And all that you think you are doing for another is to do for yourself because your neighbor is yourself. There was a wonderful poem by Rumi that says it all very succinctly. When he was searching for his beloved spiritual teacher, who suddenly disappeared from his life, as mysteriously as he had appeared in his life. And Rumi finally concluded, why should I seek? I am the same as he. His essence speaks through me. I have been looking for myself. And that is the essence of our sacred journey in life, to awaken to God realization. And I end now with a beautiful prayer invoked by many people that speaks to the one in the many. Thou art the Father, thou art the Mother, thou art friend and companion. Thou art all in all. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from ignorance to light. Lead us from death to immortality, and manifest through and through, and protect us with thy sweet, benign presence. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Thank you for allowing me to share with all of you today and to celebrate with you today's World Interfaith Harmony Week event. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful program, celebrating together, and infinite blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Unmute yourself, Guruji, please.
Sorry. Thank you, Audrey, for your great message and blessing and the prayer. I always like to work with you in different events and part of the URI at the UN group. Here I want to announce something for our people. On Friday, from the Brooklyn Borough, they called and they said, we want to recognize some of our members in your group. I said that is good. So I went there. So they said, there's a proclamation for this event and 4 citations. So I asked who are the people. We gave some suggestions. And see, one is Ambassador Chowdhury, another person is Reverend Audrey Kitagawa, and Reverend Dionne Boissiere, and Monica Villa. So that I was surprised. They observe all of the stuff, they support our people, and this is the citation they gave us. I don't know if you can see or not, but I'll show in the, take that. Okay. Now you can see. In the citation it says, whereas on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Reverend Audrey Kitagawa, JD, President and founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation and President of the Light of Awareness International Spiritual Family. I acknowledge her as a former advisor to the Office of the Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict at the United Nations. I recognize her as a former chair for the Parliament of the World of Religions and as a United Nations representative for the United Religious Initiative. I commend her as a chair emerita of the Non-Governmental Organization Committee on Spirituality, Global Values and Concerns. I applaud her as a committee member of the Conference of NGOs in a consultative relationship with the United Nations. And I thank her for all that she has done to touch and improve the lives of many, helping to move our communities forward as one Brooklyn. Now, therefore, I, Eric Adams, President of the Brooklyn Borough, do hereby confer the citation on Reverend Audrey Kitagawa. So when I meet you, I'll hand over this to you. So now you can see I already put it on the slide. That's the only thing I can do now. So Audrey, thank you for your support. We'll be in touch. Eh?
Thank you very much.
So I'd like to invite our drummers from Japan. I know some of you have to go early, but just wait 5 minutes. Where are our drummers? Okay. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Guruji. So now we would like to present our Japanese tiger drums and dance performance, Wind of Restoration. It shows the energy to open up the new era and bring restoration to the whole earth. So please enjoy. Thank you.
Right, well, beautiful. Right? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For supporting us with this. I like to invite Imam Shamsi Ali, is the president of the Nusantara Foundation, and one of my fans from the Islamic tradition as a Imam. He support all the interfaith activities in New York and abroad, and a very open-minded Imam I met in my life. But acknowledge that part. And he is active at the UN, at the mayor's events or governor's events. Wherever I go, he's very humble and very simple, ready to work with the people. Imam, floor is for.
Thank you, Guruji. Good morning. Namaste, shalom, peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And may peace and blessings of our Lord be unto all of us. This is a very snowy this morning, but our heart is shining, inshallah, God willing. I would like to join others by thanking first our great friend and brother, Guruji, for gathering us together this morning, despite of the busy schedule of ours. And I'm so happy to see many popular and familiar faces, such as my brother, Bawa Jain, who gave a very wonderful presentation this morning. I got a lot of benefit out of it. Thank you. The last speaker that we had, the lady, I forgot her name, but I'm very thankful to all of you, to both of you, both speakers, lady speakers before me. I'm truly appreciative to both of you. In these very deeply challenging moments of ours, I think it's very important to extend our hands to one another with love, compassion, try to build unity despite of divisiveness that we have in the community at the moment. And not only that, but beyond that, we have to embrace one another. We have to build partnership. We can and will only be able to go through this difficult moment by coming together. Personally, I'm looking into the interfaith works that we are in and have done a lot. I have a mixture of feelings. In one hand, I was so, motivated and optimistic with what my brother Bawa again had mentioned about a lot of accomplishments, the meetings with the Pope with King Abdel-lah and others, a lot of things that we have done, alhamdulillah, thank God. A lot of achievements. Bawa Jain organized the Millennium Summit in 2000. I still remember that. There's a lot of things we have done, but at the same time, I think we need more works to do. But what we have to have as believers is that we have to continue hopeful. We have to continue build optimism. Because number one, we do believe that results is in the hand of God. It is in God's hand. And so we are enjoying the process. And here my great friend Guruji is the great example. They have done a lot. He is smiling every time. Almost every day has some Zoom program, bringing together the people, talk about love, talk about compassion. In the midst of all this hatred that we have in the community, in the society. Bawa Jain mentioned about the tragic event that is in the 6th of this month in the Capitol Hill. This is just an expression of hatred, that the amount of hatred that we have in the communities is unfortunate. And I think it gives us an immense mixture of feelings that in one hand, we have to continue hopeful, but at the same time, we have to work even more. My friends, brothers and sisters, I just wanted to share with you a few points briefly from my own perspective on how to continue our works in order to build this harmony, to build peace, partnership with one another. Number one, this point is not new. By the way, it's just a reminder to all of us. Number one, that we must recommit ourselves to the golden rules. And that golden rule says that we must learn to treat others as we wish to be treated. Why it is that? Because the reality is there's only one humanity. Many people, many human beings, different types of people, in terms of skin colors, in terms of cultures, in terms of faith traditions. But when we come to our heart, to our spirituality, to our faith, and to our humanity, there is only one singular humanity. So what we aspire and wish for ourselves, that's exactly what others want for themselves. And we have to keep that in mind. If you want to be treated as such, as kindness, as kind, as good, as nice, then we have to treat others as such. That's what the rules is. And for this regard, I think it requires us to be able to stand for others. Not only that we do good for ourselves and want others to be treated goodly, but also we have to stand for others. You know, I'm sorry to mention, this is not a matter of pride here, but I have been working with my Jewish friend for quite a long time, since 2001. And the motto that we have with all dynamic things between Jewish and Muslim community around the world, and you know all of you, this is a real thing. The reality that we have differences and a lot of things that's going on. But our motto between Muslim community and the Jewish community is about fighting for one another. Because we do believe that Islamophobia is just the other side of anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism and Islamophobia is the two sides of the coin. And what is happening to us today, it's going to be happening to anyone else tomorrow. If anything happened to anyone today, it can and will happen to us today. So this is number one. Let's learn and recommit ourselves to treat others as we want to be treated, and let's stand together for others. Number two, as we mentioned quite a lot, we have to continue learning about embracing our diversity. Yes, tolerance is good, but tolerance is not enough. Tolerating others is not enough. The world where we live in is different. It is called globalized world. In other words, there is no barrier between us. We are living in the same house under the same roof in 24 hours. This world is our shared home. And there is only choice in front of us. Either we join hands in saving it together, or let the irresponsible people ruin it and destroy it, and it's going to be destroyed altogether. And therefore, it is very important that we have to learn how to embrace one another. Because diversity is not only something that needs to be appreciated, it is something godly in nature. God who makes us different. And those who reject diversity basically reject God himself. And in the tradition of Islam, there's a verse of the Quran says, and I'm quoting in Arabic, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَجَعَلَكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. If God so will, he could have made you one nation. And the nation is not nation state only, but nation is groups. It's not only nation state, because the concept of nation state is new. It's after French Revolution. So there is a Hindu nation, Buddhist nation, Christian nation, Jewish nation, Muslim nations. These are nations, and God created us into different nations. In other words, that it is very important to learn and recommit ourselves to embrace one another's diversity. And for this, I think I mentioned yesterday also that we have to be able to listen to one another. Before the last one, do not put everybody in one box. One thing we have to be sure that humans' identity is fluid. identity can and does change, taking many new forms and means of personal expression. We can see that for us immigrants in America, as we begin to learn English, begin to integrate into the society, we feel that we have a different identity from what we were before. So identities can and may change. And therefore, we cannot put everyone in one box. Avoid categorizing people into a versus us and them. Unfortunately, many politicians do that, us and them. Such approaches and narratives are highly divisive and unproductive. My friends, I just wanted to remind myself that this is very important to fight against stereotypical views of others, misconception, and toxic narratives. And I give you one example, and this story is not new. When I came for the first time to the United States more than 2 decades ago, I rented the house in Astoria, Queens. And my neighbor was a Catholic, Irish, he's a senior citizen. And what he did, every morning he went out from his house, cleaning his driveway and my driveway. And in the beginning, I had a lot of suspicion in my mind, what he wanted to do with me. This person showed me his kindness, but instead of appreciating him, I built suspicion. But you know what? Weeks, months, he did what he did. He never talked about religion. And I realized that basically he taught me how to be a good Muslim, how to be a good person. That's what it is, that we have to fight that stereotypical minds. And in order to do that, my brothers and sisters, we have to be able to get out from the barriers of houses of worship. We have to reach out to our neighbors. Let me end with this, but also we have to be real. Love is God, as we said it. God is powerful, as we said it. But one of the actualization of love is that we must be able to build a more fair and just society. We can see that the Black Lives Matter movement, that is a part of love. That is the part of love. Let's work together to establish justice and fairness to everyone. May God bless us all. And let me end with this short prayer. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam wa ilayka ya'ud as-salam wa hayyina rabbana bis-salam wa adkhilna al-jannata dar as-salam تباركت ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. Amen. Thank you, Guruji. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Imam. That was beautiful. I always enjoy prayer and message. Thanks. I want to invite our next guest speaker, that is Dr. Kusumita Pedersen. She's the chair of Interfaith Center of New York and NGO representative at the United Nations. Additionally, she is the trustee of the Parliament of World Religions. And she's in climate action holds so many committees. Last 20 years, I see her at the UN, very hardworking, knowledgeable. I want to say from my heart more than reading a bio, And she's a follower of disciple of Chimoy. He was very close to Swami Bawaji. They used to meet. That's why I met him. And he used to lift people, even Muhammad Ali and Kofi and all the people, And he drove nice painting. A few restaurants are in Queens. It's beautiful. And they have a group of people singing nice bhajans. I always thinking, why there is no Hindus at the UN? The only person I always see, that is her. It's not a political Hindus, live in spirituality. That's the way she is. Dr. Kusumita Pedersen. So wonderful to invite you to our group. Please, flourish for it.
Thank you so much, Dileepji, for your ever so kind words. And it's just a joy to be part of this gathering, or satsang, I could say. It has been said that there will be no peace in the world until there's peace among the religions. And this is a celebrated saying of theologian Hans Kuhn, and it's a watchword of the interfaith movement. It has also been said that to change everything, we need everyone. And that is the motto of the People's Climate Movement. In a world torn by conflict, caused by religious supremacy, so often fused with national supremacy, racial supremacy, and gender supremacy, the world's religions have a crucial role to play. And first, this is to be peaceable and to make peace among ourselves, and also to be a force for peace in the whole wider world. This is why there is an interfaith movement, which is made up of thousands of organizations, groups, projects, and programs all over the world. And it is now recognized and supported by the United Nations through World Interfaith Harmony Week. No single religion, spiritual path, or community of ethical convictions can bring about this transformation. To change everything, we need everyone. All of the religions and ethical convictions, and every one of us must be involved in working together in partnership. But peace does not only mean peace among the nations, the religions, and groups in human society. Peace on earth also means peace with earth. And it is more urgent than ever before now in the time of the unprecedented existential crisis of climate change. In the words of the Earth Charter, peace is the wholeness created by right relationships with oneself, with other persons, other cultures, other life, and the larger whole, of which all are a part. The Earth Charter calls us to respect Earth and life in all its diversity, and to recognize that all beings are interdependent and every form of life has value regardless of its worth to human beings. We must care for the community of life with understanding, compassion, and love, says the Earth Charter. A review of environmental ethics in the world's religions shows that the religious traditions uphold this call. They agree on the following points in environmental ethics. The natural world has value in itself and does not exist solely to serve human needs. There is a significant continuity of being between human and other than human beings, even though humans have a distinctive role. This continuity of being can be felt and experienced. Other than human living beings are morally significant in the eyes of God and in the cosmic order. They have their own unique relations with God and their own places in the cosmic order. The dependence of human life on the natural world can and should be acknowledged in ritual and ceremony and other expressions of appreciation and gratitude. Moral norms such as justice, compassion, and reciprocity apply both to human beings and to other than human beings. The well-being of humans and the well-being of non-human beings are inseparably connected. There are legitimate and illegitimate uses of nature. These are the things that the religions agree on, all the religions. Greed and destructiveness are condemned. Restraint and protection are commended. And human beings are obliged to be aware and responsible in living in harmony with the natural world, and should follow the specific practices for this prescribed by their own traditions. And the United Nations Environment Program has published this consensus 3 times in the last 20 years, most recently in the book, Faith for Earth, A Call for Action, which has recently come out from UNEP and the Parliament of the World's Religions. The fundamental principle of human rights is the universality and equality of human dignity. Every human being is worthy of respect. But this dignity belongs not only to human beings, but also to all beings in creation. As Pope Francis, among so many others, affirms in his encyclical Laudato Si, referring to, I quote, the Pope, the intrinsic dignity of the world, and saying that we are one with all creatures in a cosmic communion. In the prayer that closes the encyclical, the Pope says, teach us to discover the worth of each thing, to be filled with awe and contemplation, to recognize that we are profoundly united with every creature as we journey towards your infinite light. This brings to mind the teaching of Mahayana Buddhism, that all sentient beings have the Buddha nature, and that in the fullness of deep time, even the grass will attain enlightenment. The Bodhisattva vows to serve all beings in boundless compassion, as we all share the journey to a realization of the truth. Similarly, my own teacher, Sri Chinmoy, has said in his poetry, during my deepest meditation, I hear my Lord beloved supreme, secretly whispering, my child, you were born to be my eternity's greatness, my infinity's goodness, and my immortality's fullness. My child, this message is not only for you, but it is for each and every creation of mine. From God's point of view, Sri Chinmoy says, each creation of his is absolutely sacred. And God's love for each and every creation of his is not only unbounded, but also inexhaustible. Let us aspire to grow in this love and compassion for all beings, and to act together in hope and unwavering resolve to bring our world through the present crisis and to a new world of peace, justice, and the restoration and care of the earth community of all life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kusumita. So wonderful to connect with you, especially because of the relationship between Swami Bua and Chinmoy, and you are maintaining the religious committee in a good way. I appreciate that part. Now I can be part of that group too. So I always appreciate all of your work. Thank you. Appreciate. Next speaker, Dr. Brian Kaufman is the president of 12 Gates Foundation and the advisor to the World Yoga Community. So He's a professor, a teacher at the UTS Seminary too. Now, long time friend. And very interesting to see how he mobilized spirituality in different way. That's the thing I felt. A lot of time people have so many titles and reverends, doctor, and they're involved with some big organizations. Then the one part they lose, the ego will come and burn them up. But for him, no. Dr. Frank Hoffman, floor is for you.
Thank you very much, Guruji, for your kind words. Thank you also for organizing this event and the tens of events, your tireless dedication to this noble cause. I'd like to thank also all the speakers prior to myself from whom we've learned today, and not only from your messages for today, but also for the work you've done in the world throughout the course of your lives. And our world and all of us are better for your contributions. So the wisdom we hear in the moment, of course, comes from a life of dedication. I'd like to thank the musicians who performed for us today, because the music is a direct window to heaven. We can all things resolve for a moment and we're at peace. So I'd like to thank you, Guruji, for putting together this remarkable event today. I'd like to speak, because this is an interfaith event, or it involves an effort for religions to work more closely together, I'd like to speak just about religion just for a moment. For some reason, all human beings, everyone ever born ever, is either tempted by or constituted by some serious problems that we bear. One is that we tend to be proud. Another is that we tend to be idolatrous. And another is that we tend to be brutish. In our pride, we fail to surrender to God, the all-loving, the infinite, the divine, and have an inclination to make ourselves more important than God. In our idolatry, we tend to connect to things less than God and make them absolute in our lives. And in our brutishness, we are either brutish towards one another, or we are brutish as Ms. Pedersen just described, Professor Pedersen, that we're brutish also to our planet, our home, our mother. So religion has the mission and responsibility to address these problems by teaching us how to become closer and closer to God. Those horrible characteristics dissolve and subside. We come closer to the love of God and have no longer inclined to put ourselves higher. We come closer to the love of God, and we're no longer inclined to attach ourselves to other matters that we believe are more important than that relationship. And we come closer to the love of God and inherit the love of God and begin to treat one another compassionately and begin to treat our earth with care and gratitude. Every religion does this. All religious believers, by following their leaders and their scriptures and their traditions, grow closer to God, and these horrible qualities that we all have subside and decline. So for this, we're grateful for every religion. We're sorry that for many understandable reasons, religions clash with one another. And we're grateful that at around 1890 or so, religions began to wake up to that it's a bad idea to clash with one another, and slowly begin to understand that the care of our brothers and sisters is in the hands of people we should support. So the interfaith movement that we are celebrating today is about 130 years old in this present time. And it is the awakening to the fact that every single religion that is helping every one of our brothers and sisters rise out of these horrible conditions of being prideful, of being idolatrous, and being brutish, that we need to help one another and support one another. That's what this work is, and that's what we're grateful for the opportunity to do. We have different parts of life. I'm about to close, Guruji. We have different parts of life. Religion is meant to address this part, our pride, our idolatry, and our brutishness. If we go to the gym, we're making our bodies better, or studying nutrition. If we go to school, we're making our minds better. But for religion, we are bringing one another to God so that those problems can go away. The greatest threat to religion is those who are hostile to the effort to bring people to God. These are teachings, teachers, activists, and ideologues that hate God, hate religion, and hate the effort to introduce the divine into human affairs. Their teachings and ideologies of separation and of conflict and of atheism and materialism. They are against our shared goals and purposes and desire to save one another through Islam, through Hinduism, through Buddhism, through Christianity. Every one of these traditions is trying to help rescue God's children. And there are those who are committed in passionate ways, pouring billions of dollars against that effort. So as we work together to support one another and advance the ideal and mission of interfaith work, let us be cognizant of that we need our solidarity and our mutual self-protection, as Imam Shamsi said, to fight for one another, to protect one another from those who are hostile to the very mission that we share as an interfaith community. Thank you very much, Guruji, for a moment to have a word with all of us. I'm very grateful for the invitation to be at this fantastic and edifying event. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Dr. Kaufman. It was inspiring words. You're always in my phone. Anytime I can call you, anytime I message you. One of the friend in New York City. Appreciate it. I'd like to invite Swami Navananma Jana Tabasuri. He's the director of Shantigiri Ashram from my state. Maybe some of you don't know my state. It's a Kerala state, southern west side of India. You see a lot of coconut trees. That's a thing people know about. So much coconut and spices. All the spices coming here from my state. Swamiji, you are here. Please unmute yourself. Floor is for you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Guruji. I'm very happy to be here and to share a few words regarding our movement, the World Interfaith Movement. I'm thanking, first of all, Guruji for giving me an opportunity to join with you people. And I'm very proud to be here because this is the need of the time, a harmony between religions. But what the reality we face in the world is the friction in religion and the friction in between religions. As all of us know, this is a graceful evolution of thought and culture through great people appear different part of the world at different time. Of course, the people in the world are following each and every group of this movement in the name of religion. But whenever we consider the entire human being as a whole, we know that there is no peace, there is no faith, there is no trust, there is no compassion, love in between. All these good qualities are losing day by day, even in the family. So a moment like this is very indispensable and appreciable to unify the people, irrespective of the discriminations among us in our society in different ways. We know religion is the way to God. As God is unique, faith and existence is the uniqueness, the unique quality with which human being can go ahead to to attain that ultimate light, truth, through the way of dharma. That is what we in India say. Dharma is the knowledge with which we have to continue our journey to the sanctuary of ultimate, for the ultimate liberation of the soul. But in practical life, what we witness in the world scenario, the friction, the experiences which are very painful and very bad, very unfortunate among the group having these different faiths in their heart. I think here the words of my Guru once reminded, spirituality is the only one light which can unify the people, irrespective of religion. Of course, religion involves spiritual wisdom, spiritual norms, spiritual concepts. But what the reality going on is an ignorant approach in faith and custom, which keep all of us away from the real path, the unique path, to the aim of, to the attainment of that ultimate liberation and truth. So here, what spirituality is? Spirituality is the natural rule or will of that ultimate truth to go ahead with the unity, oneness, and love and faith in between. The spiritual quality, in one way or other, is unique for everybody, unlike religious dogma, religious principles stated in different texts being the authority of religious movements, different religion, say Vedas, Quran, Bible, so and so. Spiritual quality and spiritual output, spiritual awareness is unique for everybody. So that spiritual science and spiritual wisdom should be the binding force, especially a moment through which we are going ahead in such a unified manner, in such a compassionate way, loving manner, should be the strong thread to tie each of us together. So let us have a very bright and sincere move on the basis of this strong thread of spirituality to go ahead with oneness and togetherness. I am very happy to share these few words to all of you, and let us wait for again opportunity like this. And I am once again thanking Guruji for inviting me and conclude my speech with my prayer. Om Shri Karunakara Guru Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Shri Karunakara Guru Satyapradaya Namaha. Om Shri Karunakara Guru Adiva Satyaprakashaya Namaha. Om Shri Karunakara Guru Adiva Satyaprakashaya Namaha. Om Shri Karunakara Guru Adiva Satyaprakashaya Namaha. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Swamiji. Wonderful to see you again after last year. I want to mention to our members one of the great ashram in Kerala. Philosophy is so beautiful, very deep. That's what I say. So many ashrams in India, but this is a very deep knowledge. And they promote Ayurveda and Siddha medicines, and they have research. And so many activities there. So those who go to India, definitely you should visit. You can contact me or Shashimala Shandan is in the meeting today. And you have to go and see the place and enjoy the time. Thank you, Swamiji. I appreciate your valuable time. I know it's a night in India. Thank you.
Yeah.
Emily, I know my brother. We need little music. Very meditative music.
Some more music I'm happy to provide.
Yeah.
I like the idea of harmony in the way the universe is put together, harmonics, and it's part of the physics of how the world around us is organized. The idea of putting people together to understand our harmoniousness. It's a compelling thing to me in playing music. So I got my harmonium and I'm gonna play a song here. Let me just close this door. Hey, Cor, can you close that door? Hold on. Hey, Cor, can you close that door? And I'm gonna sing a song, and sometimes I'll play saxophone, use my voice that way. Sometimes I'll sing, use my singing voice. I'm gonna put the lyrics for this song into the chat bar of this meeting for everyone to see. It's an old song, and I hope it brings us to that place that we're trying to get to, at least one step closer. May the long time sunshine on you, oh, love surround you, and the pure, pure light, yeah, God. May the long time sun shine on you, Lord, surround you, and the pure, pure,
Thank you, Emiliano. That was beautiful. Is that a new one?
Sound was not come.
Good. Yeah. That is good. Good, good, good. Thank you, Emiliano. Our next speaker, and I want to introduce her. Her name is Monica Villar. She's the main NGO representative for the United Religious Initiative, as you are, right, to the United Nations. Bawa, you already mentioned about her name a few times during his talk. And she's very active at the UN for a long time, few decades, I think. And whenever I call her, I'll say, we need these two things to happen. She's ready to support us. That's the way. The heart is there. And here I want to invite Monica Villiers. Monica ji, floor is for you.
Dear Guruji, I am so grateful to be with this esteemed group of people and seeing many faces that we've celebrated Interfaith Harmony Week together in the past. This is the 11th year for World Interfaith Harmony Week, and it has been my joy to be involved with all of them and with many of you. And those that I'm sorry I missed because I had a commitment to my church this morning. And I thank you, Guruji, for allowing me to come late. And I really feel the love and prayers. And I'm sure others have mentioned this, but the UN resolution that sets World Interfaith Harmony Week as the first week in February uses the word love 4 times. And it calls for the love of God and the love of neighbor, or the love of good and the love of neighbor. And I'm thinking of this in terms of the many religious traditions. And as we look at the other, sometimes we don't even have to look outside of the people we worship with. Someone else might seem like the other who's sitting right next to you. And one of the reasons I bring this up is because March holds International Women's Day. And in many traditions, women are held in esteem light on one hand, and yet only valued for their service or the way that they do things around, but not listened to. So I really appreciate Guruji calling on so many women and the different faiths who recognize the value of women's voice, women's work, and women's prayers. And I would like to share a prayer that was written last year for UN Women's Day, because it holds the word love in it. And any time we think about the women in our congregations and anywhere in the world, if we can add our love and appreciate their love, I think we will create a harmony much stronger than we've known before. So I ask to share this prayer written by Audrey Scott Williams, the founder of 20 Million Women Strong. In the spirit of 20 million women strong, I uphold the vision for a world that is filled with love, and that love provides all, with the wisdom of the ages. With this love and the power of unity, we stand together to shine our light so bright that healing rains down on all and clears away any disharmony and that might manifest as the coronavirus around the world. Its light is so bright that it opens our hearts and gives us the strength, the courage to stand together to bring about justice for all. And in this day, as we close World Interfaith Harmony Week, we focus that light on women and children around the world and for our Earth Mother. Our love shines so bright that the heart of Mother Earth beats strong, for she knows that our stand for her is good. In this light, we go forth knowing that because we are present to the call of this hour, of this time, there is hope for the future our ancestors have prayed for. And because we stand together, it is set in motion. Love will prevail. May there be peace in our hearts. May there be peace in our homes. May there be peace among the religions. May there be peace in our communities. And may peace prevail on earth. Thank you for this opportunity to share Audrey's prayer and to have us pray for women around the world. And I just thank you again, Guruji, for having me on this program.
Earlier we mentioned about this. We have citation for four people from the Brooklyn Borough Hall. That is, one is you, Monica Villiers. This is a citation I'll show in the plates. So when we see each other, I'll hand over to you. It says, whereas on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Monica Villiers, a non-governmental organization representative of the United Religious Initiative, URI, at the United Nations. I commend her as part of the URI, which is an affiliated NGO at the United Nations. I applaud her for serving the international community for decades as a humanitarian and promoting the culture of global peace, interfaith dialogue and harmony, gender equality, human rights, and justice, while supporting other sustainable development goals of the United Nations. I acknowledge that for the last few decades, she has worked with the various religious traditions and spiritual organizations globally. I recognize her as a speaker and organizer for numerous international conferences held at the United Nations. And I thank her for all that she has done to touch and improve the lives of many, helping to move our communities forward as one Brooklyn. Now, therefore, I, Eric Adams, President of the Brooklyn Borough, do hereby confer this citation on Monica Villiers.
Thank you so much, Guruji. This means a lot to me. I really appreciate it because World Interfaith Harmony Week is near and dear to my heart. And for those of you who were with us when the Committee of Religious NGOs first started celebrating it, and then we were able to do it in the General Assembly twice and in other parts of the UN and in the chapel. And the prayers for so many years just keep gathering strength. And it is wonderful to be acknowledged for that and for the International Day of Peace and for so many things. Thank you so much, Guruji. I'm very humbled and very honored to be receiving it with the other people.
I saw Morgana somewhere. Where is she?
I'm here.
Oh. I was looking, I saw you earlier. Miss Morgana Sito, she is the global trustee of multi-region of the URI, United Religious Initiative, and she's living in Netherlands. I know she is waiting long time. Morgana, floor is for you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a great pleasure to be watching all of you today. It's my second
meeting today. We had a bit of a problem with our internet connections because we've had a very, very severe, for our country anyway, a severe snowstorm. So we're actually surrounded by a wonderful white blanket of snow. And in fact, this is something that we, from my tradition, which I come from a pagan background, is something which we take dearly to our hearts by actually observing what happens in nature. One of the things that's quite significant about the World Interfaith Harmony Week is actually that it's the first week of February. And within our Wheel of the Year, when we celebrate the various seasonal festivals, it coincides, the first week of February coincides with the time of what we call Imolc, or St. Bridget's Day. Especially in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, we are celebrating midwinter, although of course it depends on where you are. Of course, there are various parts of even Europe which will differ from where I am in the Netherlands. But that's one of the things about following our tradition. We try to connect with what's happening outside, and especially following the moon cycle. But I'd like to offer you something today of our festival of Imolc. As I said, at the beginning of the week, we celebrated Imolc, which was around about the 1st of February. But what is it like to actually celebrate this festival? What is so important about this festival? As I've just said, for the Northern Hemisphere, we are now in the mid-winter, when the first lambs are being born, when the first crocuses and snowdrops appear. But life is very fragile. Many nights of frost and snow are still before us. Life is very, very fragile. This year particularly, we've been really exposed to so many things where we are reminded of how fragile life is. I'm referring, of course, to the effects of COVID and the impact it's had on our well-being this last year. Not just our well-being as far as our material and physical body, but also to our mental and spiritual bodies. It's really important, I think, to acknowledge as well that nature itself is something which we tend to try and bend to our ways rather than we trying to adapt to what nature is telling us. So often we try to mask what nature is actually telling us, and we don't often listen. Instead of putting on an extra jumper or an extra sweater when it gets cold, we turn up the central heating. I think in many respects, we are the victims of our own, dare I say it, stupidity. But often stupidity is not something which we should attack people for or be judgmental. Sometimes we can be stupid because we get the wrong information, or we're not told, or we're not sharing the information that we have. And some of the information, of course, we can receive from our spiritual inspirations, our spiritual, the words of wisdom that we're given, if we're prepared to listen. So today, I would like to share with you a prayer to Bridget. I'd like us all to remember those who have really suffered and have lost many loved ones during this period. I would like to start by raising the candle which joins us all together, the source of light, the source of heat, the source of warmth. Blessed Bridget, comest thou in. Bless this house and all of our kin. Bless this house and all of our kin. Protect this house and all within. Blessed Bridget, come unto thy bed with a gem in thy heart and a crown on thy head. Awaken our souls within the fire and awaken the fire that makes us whole. Blessed Bridget, Queen of the fire, help us to manifest your desire. May we bring forth all that's good and fine. May we give birth to all our dreams in time. Blessed Bridget, comest thou in. Bless this house and all of our kin. From the source of infinite light, kindle the flame of our spirits tonight. Blessed Bridget, comest thou in. Bless this house and all of our kin. Bless this house and all of our kin. Blessed be to you and everybody with us. Blessed be to those who are suffering. Blessed be to those who have lost many loved ones. Blessed be to you all, that you may go in safety. Blessed be to all those who hold us dear in our hearts. Blessed be. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. That was lovely. Prayer. We'll be in touch. Appreciate. We have a birthday boy here. Where is the birthday boy? In any of our meetings, if somebody is having birthday, we celebrate. Here is our birthday boy coming. Babaji. So everybody can sing together. Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bawa. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that was a surprise, pleasant surprise. I mean, all of you. Monica used to bring me chocolate chip cookies to the UN.
So let's see who is next. Okay, I want to invite Kathleen Regan for a short prayer and a greeting. Please unmute yourself.
Namaste.
Kathleen is the queen of the Seminary. Yeah, go ahead.
Namaste, everyone. I'm going to, there's a